to sit there and wait for the next horror.
The Rizzutos of Montreal could have been cast by Hollywood. Vito Rizzuto is the boss.
Best lawyer in the country over here.
He's the John Gotti of Montreal. He's a flashy guy, proud of his ability to beat the system.
With his father and son, he built an empire.
And as Canadians, we think, well, the Americans have got the best everything. You know, they got the best pizza, they got the best Italian criminals. But you know what? We got the best Italian criminals, and we got them in Montreal.
For the first time, with wiretaps and hidden cameras, we'll take you into the inner sanctum of the Canadian mob.
He wants his fucking money by 4 o'clock, or he says, I'm gonna go get him in his fucking house, I'm gonna crack it.
It's a story of money and murder, and a lot of both.
Killing is a way of life. Killed their son-in-laws, guys killed their brother-in-laws, guys killed their cousins.
The question on this edition of The Fifth Estate: who's killing the Rizzutos?
The higher you get in the mob, the bigger the bullseye circle becomes on your chest.
Hello, I'm Bob McEwen. Welcome to The Fifth Estate. It was in 1954 when a family named Rizzuto got off a boat from Italy and settled in Montreal. In the decades to come, they would rewrite the history of Canadian organized crime and make the Rizzutos a force to be feared in that most secret of societies, the mafia. Tonight, thanks to remarkable police surveillance techniques, we're going to lift the shroud that's protected the Rizzutos so you can see the reality of the criminal underworld as it hasn't been shown before, and hear their family story as it's never been told. We think it will make even the recent massive mob sweep in the U.S. pale by comparison. It is 5:45 p.m. on November 10th, 2010. In the upper middle class neighborhood of Cartierville in Montreal, the Rizzuto family is getting ready for dinner. And mafia boss Nick Rizzuto Sr. has let his guard down. Behind the house is a wooded area and someone with a high-powered rifle waiting for the aging Don to step in front of his window. What happens next will bring down Canada's most powerful crime family. As you're about to see, in its own murderous way, it's a Canadian success story.
We found bank accounts throughout the Cayman Islands. We found accounts in Mexico, in Eastern Europe. We found them in Cyprus. This organization was certainly churning tens of millions of dollars a year.
They pretty much had their hand into everything and anything that made money.
The family came to Canada from Sicily and from a long line of gangsters.
Heroin's their blood. In the heroin trade, the Rizzutos were the key. Whoever controlled Montreal controlled the heroin franchise into the United States.
In the 1980s, the dapper Vito Rizzuto took over that franchise and built it into a criminal enterprise worth billions.
And he certainly was, his father's son, a chip off the old block, in, rising to the top of the faction there in Montreal.
The Rizzutos lived on the same block in Montreal, alongside other members of their extended family. The police call the street Mafia Road.
At one time, it was pretty much every house was owned by somebody who was very wealthy, drug trafficking, mafiosi. There was the Rizzutos, there were in-laws, and it was just this little street. It was all mafia.
We hear a lot of stuff about the mafia and tradition and family and, but one thing we don't hear, business is business. Those guys, they're running a business. And if you interfere in their business, well, you're gonna die.
The ruthless rise of Vito Rizzuto is a little-known saga that begins in the Mecca of North American organized crime, New York City. The setting is the grand old Pierre Hotel on Fifth Avenue. The occasion, a wedding reception given by an Italian godfather. It's the social event of the year for the infamous Bonanno crime family.
They are a cult, and it's a culture that you're born into. It's a life that begins the day that you are born, and there is no way out. What matters is the cult and the culture of mafia, and that's where they live.
The Bonannos of New York have a branch plant in Canada, and some of their Canadian members are here tonight, including an ambitious young man, Vito Rizzuto. The Canadians are treated with respect. They're known as good earners for the family. The acting boss of the Bonannos is Joe Massino, renowned as a pathological killer. He's old school mafia. He likes to do things the traditional way.
To join the club, you have to agree to pick up a gun and go kill somebody if the leader of the family tells you to do so. And the Bonanno crime family, you know, is one of the most notorious at that game.
Vito Rizzuto and the others from Montreal are loyal to the Bonannos, and they're eager to show it. Their wish is about to come true. A few months after the wedding, Joe Massino decides to shake up his organization. He believes 3 of his captains are no longer loyal. He summons Vito Rizzuto and his Canadian crew to New York to help him clean house. They meet at a motel in Brooklyn, the boss in the dirty t-shirt and the shooters from Canada to plan the ambush.
And as far as Rizzuto was concerned, what was his rationale for doing it? What was in it for him?
Oh, this is an honor. I mean, if you're a gangster on the way up or looking to climb up, and your old man is the head of the faction there in Montreal, you're looking to, you know, impress. Once the idea was broached, there was no way that you were going to keep a guy like Vito Rizzuto away from that opportunity.
The ambush will take place at a social club frequented by the Bonannos. It's May 5th, 1981. Vito Rizzuto will pull the trigger.
If you're given a contract to kill somebody, you have to do it. You don't turn it down because it's part of being part of the family.
Joe Pistone was a soldier in the Bonanno crime family for 6 years.
Killing is a way of life. You know, guys kill their, kill their son-in-laws, guys kill their brother-in-laws, guys kill their cousins, and that's what it takes. You have to be totally ruthless and devoid of any feeling that you show for anybody.
This reenactment is from a PBS documentary about the Bonanno family, based on court records and eyewitness testimony. Vito Rizzuto is the man in the ski mask.
They put the rival faction at ease, leading them to believe that the meeting that they were going to attend was in fact just another meeting between rival captains in the family trying to work things out. Inside the closet, Vito Rizzuto is basically the guy with his eyes out. He bursts out first and bullets start flying. And the 3 captains end up dead.
The bodies were cut up and disposed of. The grisly triple homicide became mafia legend, a latter-day version of Al Capone's St. Valentine's Day Massacre. After the break, the highlight of Vito Rizzuto.
When people give you money not to do anything, does it get sweeter than that?
And one of the greatest law enforcement operations in history.
Well, the reason it's so difficult to infiltrate the American Mafia is because you have to have known somebody. Everybody knows somebody.
Early in the 1980s, Vito Rizzuto returned to Montreal after earning his stripes with the mob murders in New York. For the up-and-coming CEO of Canada's most successful criminal organization, business was good.
In 1981, he was already a significant criminal by virtue of his blood and his birth. But now he's a man who can get the work done. He drives some very, very nice cars. Very little in his own name. Businessman in Toronto wants to lend him a car to use. People want to do nice things for Vito Rizzuto. Not because he will do something bad to them if they don't, but because they think he might do something bad to them if they don't. It's a mythic, perfect criminal organization. When people give you money not to do anything, does it get sweeter than that?
Best lawyer in the country over here.
Like the notorious New York mob boss John Gotti, Vito Rizzuto had swagger. He showed up at the fights in Montreal with his entourage. He liked to see and be seen.
The whole thing, it's money and power. They get the best service. They get the best seat. Everybody's falling all over. There's the respect, and that's also power.
And Vito Rizzuto had power to burn, from sports betting to loan sharking and drug dealing. There were few rackets in Montreal where Rizzuto didn't get his cut.
He always gonna have 2-3 bodyguards with him. He always have nice women around him. One of them was his mistress. What a beautiful lady she was. And I would say like kind of Marilyn Monroe. So my job was to go around with her and bring her, let's say, to the bar, bring her to a restaurant, drive her someplace. That's it. As long as nobody is gonna touch her, and she could look at other men and stuff like that, like she was young. I would say she was 25, 26. Gorgeous, gorgeous. What a fucking babe she was. And it's normal that everybody's gonna look. And she knew, too, that she was the property of Vito.
Rival gangs apparently had a hands-off policy, too. For over a quarter of a century, no one dared to take on Vito Rizzuto.
He's the John Gotti of Montreal. He's a flashy guy, proud of his ability to beat the system, and, you know, someone who doesn't run away from the status that he achieved by being a gangster.
But author Lee Lamothe says Vito Rizzuto's criminal footprint was far greater than Gotti's.
John Gotti was a powerful, thuggish criminal in a borough of New York with influence in the other boroughs. Vito Rizzuto could get on an airplane and fly to the Emirates and be accepted. As Canadians, we think, well, the Americans have got the best everything. You know, they got the best pizza, they got the best Italian criminals. But you know what? We got the best Italian criminals, and we got them in Montreal.
Vito Rizzuto, he see things coming. He's got lots of power in Quebec. And politics, cops, judge, he's got power everywhere. The paradise for any crook around the world, it's Quebec. You can buy everything. Tell me the price, you're gonna get it. And that's including minister, law, justice, anything.
Under Vito's leadership, everybody makes a lot of money during 30 years in Montreal. Vito said, it's better for all of us to make money than to kill each other.
For decades, good management and good luck kept the Rizzutos on top in a cutthroat business.
In the world of organized crime, you never know from one day to the next